The mid-season balance patch is out, and honestly I am pleasantly surprised by the amount of perk changes that we got for Genji. 3 of his perks got changed, the only one that didn't is Dragon's Thirst, which is Genji's best designed perk by far, but the other ones, while they are moving in the right direction, they still need work, and that's what we're gonna get into this video. I'm gonna leave acrobatics for last because that's a whole can of worms. Let's quickly go over meditation and blade twisting. Meditation was always Genji's best perk choice, and I'll explain that shortly, but the only change that meditation got is the healing increased, which just makes it a little bit more significant for him to be able to hold angles on his own, right? Genji is a character that is greedy support-wise, right? He wants resources for him, he does well in metas where he has support players that can pocket him, right? Brig is a great example, and Brig has been meta a lot recently. Brig Genji is a very common combo, has been since Overwatch 1. So meditation, giving Genji some healing so that he can work by himself a little bit more, be more self-sufficient, is just very good. Genji is a character that does well with resources, so more healing, good, right? I believe part of the reason why this was changed is because of the DPS passive reducing the previous healing amount, which was up to 50 to something like, I believe, 37.5, which is still good but not great, so it's just more noticeable. I'm still not fond of this perk because it's not transformative like a lot of other major perks are, and that's Blizzard's design philosophy for major perks, but at least it's a good perk, right? And we can hope that in the future, once we get perk refreshes, we can get something more interesting, right? There are a lot of different cool ideas, like a perfect parry mechanic, maybe transforming deflect into a cool cooldown like a smoke bomb, but that would take a lot of play testing and to see if it's balanced, if it's fun to use and everything. So let's not get into that. As of right now, since Blizzard has so much stuff to balance, with I believe 168% total, it makes sense that they would rather do like these low-hanging fruits type of changes that just address some of the biggest pain points with a very simple change, and this is a good thing. Now for blade twisting. Previously blade twisting was really bad because of how slow the effect was. So for example, if I go here in the bots, you'll see that the blade is now much faster. It's half the time, from 2 seconds to apply the whole DOT, right, to now only 1 second. And also you can hold that charge for much longer, now up to 10 seconds. So I'm holding, and I still get the bleed off all that time later. The problem with blade twisting is that the condition kills it, right? You need to get an elimination to pull it off, but when you get an elimination, you're already winning the fight. You're already or if not winning, you're already getting rewarded with a second dash, right? Genji is not a character that really needs to get more of his snowball mechanic, so it's rather pointless in basically every single situation that you can use it. And the problem with this perk is that, like, it's very hard to balance, because if you give this dash damage before getting an elimination, right, unconditional, or maybe an easier condition to fulfill, a more useful condition to fulfill, like let's say a number of targets hit for the damage, the problem is that then you run into a historical problem with Genji, which is breakpoints. Give Genji too much damage and he gets the first kill too fast, and then he snowballs and it's not fun, right? So this was a big issue for Blade and Nano Blade for a long time. It's now fixed ever since then, since the 9 Blade changes. I know those are controversial, but frankly speaking, the community is gonna have to accept those changes, because if we move back to Nano Blade one-shots, and we can sort of get it now with the blade twisting on Nano Blade, I'll get to that in a second. Having the health pools now be bigger and blade swing faster rather than deal more damage and one-shot makes for healthier counterplay, and makes Blizzard much more able to change Genji's neutral kit, for example, because the Genji's neutral kit's now not gate kept by Nanoblade's power, right? That was a big problem with Genji balancing in general. So I am very I very much like the idea of balancing Genji outside of number tweaks, because numbers wise Genji is in a fine state and has been for a while, even if it's not the most fun for every single player, right? And another point that I'm gonna make about this is that, like, if we think about a character like Roadhog, the hero fantasy, right, the hook and the one shot, it's fun for the Hog, but it's not fun for anyone else. So I think that we still have Genji. It's not like not having as easily accessible one shots and nanoblade combos and everything just ruins the hero fantasy, but doing so at least makes the whole rest of the player base much happier. So I'm completely fine accepting Genji having a little bit lower damage output for him to have better balancing and better utility and in general with stuff like meditation and everything, right? And not have to be gate capped by his damage numbers. So yeah, little tangent aside, blade twisting is gonna be very difficult to make a good perk because it's either broken or pretty much useless. There's no in between. There has to be a condition in place for this to not be broken, and once you put a condition in place like the elimination, it becomes so niche and in this case even pointless that it's just not a good perk. Which is why in my perk rework video I suggested doing stuff like reducing the cooldown of the perk either when you don't hit anyone, so you become more mobile that way, or when by the number of targets that you hit, like Junker Queen's Carnage, right? Reducing by 2 seconds. In this case, Genji dash reducing by 2 would be too much, but numbers would have to be tweaked, right? My idea was something like 0.5 seconds. That would be a much healthier way of rewarding aggression with dash instead of damage, because damage is, as I talked about before, very hard to balance and can be extremely toxic for the game. Also, another thing that I'll mention is that while blade twisting did get changed so that it's much better now, it's still not very meaningful. In most cases, this is not gonna change breakpoints, and even when it does, it's a single shuriken. The healing that you get from meditation will allow you to get more damage than blade twisting, which is the damage-oriented change or the major perk for Genji, right? Allows you to do, because the healing means you'll get you stay alive for longer, get one more shot already outdoes blade twisting. So yeah, it's just not good. Meditation is consistently high value, while blade twisting is conditional, very niche because of it, and a very mediocre effect at that, right? And it cannot be stronger, otherwise Genji is just extremely unfun to play, right? Imagine Genji having 50 damage on blade twisting. That would be too much. But yeah, the main use I can see for blade twisting right now is nanoblade one-shots, because if you get your first elimination, you're gonna be dealing 240 damage with your swing dash combo, right? And then because you already got one elimination at the start, right? Then your next skills are gonna be faster because you're gonna have that DOT finishing your targets off for you, and then you can instantly dash into someone else and basically have old nanoblade breakpoints, which will be fun for combo-oriented players, right? Clip farming and everything, but in terms of like actually winning matches and just picking the best perk, meditation is the go-to 100% of the time. There is absolutely zero reason to pick blade twisting now, and honestly, there wasn't any reason to pick it beforehand. But yeah, I'm not gonna dive into that too much anymore because I'm already repeating some stuff that I already talked about in my previous perk videos. So yeah. Let's talk about the last perk so far, which I put for last for a good reason, which is the acrobatics, right? The acrobatics is a very interesting perk, but it's trying to solve a problem that Genji doesn't have, and it's movements. Genji already has good movement. I want to get to this high ground, I don't need to spend a cooldown to get here. I already can do so. The extra double jump is also extremely difficult to achieve because and also very pointless most of the time, because if I want to have a double jump for an outplay, like baiting a Nana's Leap for example, by mixing up my movement in midair, I can just save my double jump. I don't need the perk, right? I can just do one jump and then jump after a dash. I did not use acrobatics for this. If I wanted to use acrobatics, I would need to 1, 2, and now I get the effect of the perk. Tying the perk to that first double jump being used which is rather useless in basically every single situation, is what killed acrobatics in the past. So now Blizzard added this change so that you can double jump or refresh your double jump after wall climb, which makes it less niche, but it's still incredibly niche. The only use cases I could find for this, outside of like killing flyers, would be when outplaying, like I said, and a sleep dart, for example, but in that case you don't need more than one double jump or movement air mix-up, right? Air stall, a wall climb would do the same trick. If you're trying to blade a rallying brig, where staying in the air and stalling in the air right above her is useful so that you don't get stunned, that's useful, but you can still already, without acrobatics, right? You can dash, you can double jump right above, you can wall climb, and then you essentially get 3 swings off before you are in range of a shield bash. So now you could get 4 swings off because of the extra double jump after the wall climb, but the the Dragon's Curse rather, would be doing you more service in that situation, because it would be offering you the sustain to get those repeated swings. And if you're not killing her in those 3 initial swings while she can't dash you, chances are your blade is probably mistimed, so the perk is not even helping you really all that much. So the other situation, again, outplays. We think about Reinhardt and dodging Shatter. It's the same thing with Sleep Dart. You only need 1 movement mix-up, and Genji's base kit already has 2, both the double jump and the wall climb. So getting a 3rd one after the wall climb and maybe more with a dash, it's just like, it's not movement that Genji needs. The one good thing about the wall climb resetting double jump thing is that now, let's say that I'm trying to blade a Pharah Mercy, right? Let me turn this on. One of the problems that it had before is that for me to get value out of acrobatics, I need to get multiple dashes for me to actually get meaningful extra movement out of the perk, right? But because now I can get 1 extra jump without getting an extra reset, right? I have 2 base extra jumps on the perk, right? With no extra dashes required, then this makes it more broadly applicable. But in a situation where I'm blading a Pharah without having a wall close by, it doesn't help very much, right? So it's still gonna not be very useful in these situations, unfortunately. Although it does help outside of Blade, right? Blade already you get a base double jump reset, so you can see here that I can get a lot of airtime near the Pharah, so that I can get 3, maybe even 4 swings on her in midair, because I have the dash reset to get me a good acrobatics value. But outside of Blade, I can now try to make a play on the Pharah, because let's say I do this, and then I do this, and then I double jump again, so I can get a lot of shots off and maybe make some neutral plays on her. I honestly think that despite the attempt of this change being to make it more broadly applicable, right? The main use of acrobatics is still gonna be flyers, and in fact it just helps versus flyers more than it does so open up any opportunities outside of flyers, which is ironic. I tried going through all of the maps in custom games, seeing if I could find any use for the wall climb extra double jump for parkour, right? Rollouts over roofs and stuff like that, and I could only find like a single extremely niche, so it's not even useful situation, and that's because the condition is, while more accessible, it's still not really very useful for parkour at the very least. If you want to give Genji more movements around the map and rollouts and everything, right, which could be an interesting way to do the acrobatics change, right? Blizzard in the past has done a lot of changes to roofs. If you're like someone that does a lot of Genji rollouts, you're gonna notice that a lot of the times rollouts that you previously used to be able to do, you now hit your head once you get to like the roof, right? This kind of thing. And now you can't quite make it over the roof as you could before, because you lose your momentum on that and you have to burn your double jump earlier. So perk design is something that Blizzard is doing a lot of, like breaking rules, right? So Sojourn, for example, getting double slide, right, and kind of being like crazy movement creep. and Anna being able to nano herself and a lot of that, right? A lot of balance rules are just like completely forgotten when it comes to perks, because perks are meant to be modifiers that make the game fun. So having Genji lose the ability to do parkour because before perks, because of balance and Blizzard not loving those ideas of like those fun movement attacks that maybe are a little bit unfair for their players to play against. Well, if a lot of perks are unfair to play against because they're simply fun, right, and every character has those broken perks, then Genji should be able to get it too, right? So I could see a world where acrobatics gets changed into a parkour based perk, and that could actually give the acrobatics the niche that actually makes it worth picking over Dragon's Thirst. Because right now, and frankly speaking, with most potential changes to this idea of adding Genji movement, right, that's trying to solve a problem that Genji doesn't have, it's never gonna be better than the lifesteal on Blade. Like, that is just so strong, despite the fact that it's only active on a very small percentage of your playtime, which is your ultimate, right? But yeah, the change I would propose is either an unconditional triple jump, right? Because this allows for more movement mix-ups that are broadly applicable, right? On duels, right? Going over people's heads, doing stuff like this and then jumping again and confusing them. That could be more useful. But the main use for this unconditional triple jump, or even something such as if you don't burn your first jump, right, like this one, if you just drop, you keep your jump and you can use it as an extra jump, right? So for example, if I do this, I would be able to get another jump, double jump right now. I can even simulate what this effect would be by I could even simulate the effect that this would do by doing a quick wall tap right here, right? So that would be kind of like what you would get from that idea. But essentially what this is trying to allow you to do is save both of your jumps to use it over a roof or something like that for assassination players, right? Play into the assassin hero fantasy. Because as of right now, the double jump preset and everything, you only essentially get like one double jump at the top, which is where it's usually most useful because of the way of the design of the roofs and their size. And so because you already get that regardless on the base kit, right, the extra double jump that you get from the acrobatics is something that you would have to spend near the ground for you to get benefit out of it. It only ends up getting you a little bit extra height, and that's only useful in very specific places in very specific maps where the height is just barely a little bit higher than what Genji can naturally walk climb, so he needs that extra double jump boost, right? So to make it less niche, this unconditional, or with the condition that I just described, change, what that would do is it would allow Genji to use both of those jumps above to either mix it up by faking it going over the roof and going back, or it would allow him to go over bigger roofs that one double jump is not enough to go over. So that would be a way that I could see acrobatics be changed in the future, but I don't really have many expectations for that, and it's just a fun brainstorming thing. But yeah, as it currently stands, Genji perks are still very one-dimensional in terms of like what you pick. There's no consideration whatsoever. You always just pick the Dragon's Thirst and Meditation. The other two perks are worthless. Maybe you pick them if you want to have fun, if you want to just farm clips, but outside of those purposes, both of the sustained perks are just way better, and it's just like there's no reason if you want to just like do your best in a match to not pick them, and that's a shame, right? Blizzard is moving in the right direction, as I said, but the perks still need work. And if you want to hear more thoughts in terms of like how I would rework some of the perks and everything, already kind of hinted at them here and even proposed new ideas. especially for acrobatics, but I have a whole perk rework video that goes into the design of perks and the ways that perks could be changed that wouldn't break the character but would make him more fun and would fit Blizzard's design for what minor and major perks are supposed to be, right? Especially the major perks that aren't transformative like they are for other characters, and that to me is like a big red flag in Genji's major perk design right now. But yeah, very casual video right now. Just wanted to give my my thoughts here and just like rant. So let me know if this is something that you would like to see more of. Always scared of making videos like this because videos like this don't usually do very well over scripted videos, but they are much faster to make. I just planned a little bit this morning, and then I'm just recording and I'm just gonna post it this today, so it's very easy content. So if this is something that is interesting to you and you think that depending on like the amount of views this get and the feedback I get from this, I might make more of this. But yeah, I also, one thing that I quickly before I finish this could mention is that this type of stuff is this kind of casual talk vibe content. This is something that you can get on my streams. I will stream occasionally on YouTube and Twitch, so when I go live you can get notified, and then you can just come chat with me, ask questions about the game. I would be happy to answer, talk about game design, play matches, etc. So yeah, I would recommend that. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me this video. See ya.